Good morning. 1 second. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming and learning this series with us. Today's the 12th day of the month of Nissan. It's a Thursday, and we're coming, of course, close to the Pesaach, to our holiday Pesaach. Tonight we're going to make the Bedikas Chametz tonight. We're going to search for the Chametz and with the bracha, and afterwards tonight we're going to say the Kol Chamira, the nullification of Chametz. Then tomorrow morning we're going to burn the Chametz, even though we're still going to keep a little bit of Chametz in the house, because really Pesach doesn't start until Shabbos in the middle of the day. So we're going to keep per person in your household 1 pizza per meal. That means a pizza for Friday night and 1 pizza for Shabbos morning. For those of you who want to do 2 pizza for Shabbos morning, then you can do that also. The Friday night meal is a regular. We have only Pesach food. Our kitchens are ready for Pesach. No one has any chametz except for that 1 piece of bread, that 1 piece of pizza. Pizza we use because it's the least crumbly per person. We eat the pizza either outside or away from the table. After washing our hands and after having heard Kiddush. Shabbos morning, everybody has to get up early to daven by the nights, because the final eating of chametz here in Yerushalayim HaKodesh is approximately 10 a.m. So you have to have your 1 meal in the morning, and according to some poskim, you can have your meal, your pizza meal. In other words, it's like challah. You take two together, you hold them together. You make hamotzi also after Kiddush. You have the pizza, and then you can have it with something like a piece of fish, or that's basically, whatever you could have it with. And then you bench, and then you say Birkat Hamazon, the grace after meals. And then after that, you take a break of about 20 minutes, you walk outside a little bit, and then you come back in and you wash again. And that will be your 3rd meal. Some poskim say to do it like that. It doesn't really fulfill all the qualifications, because the 3rd meal is supposed to really be after midday. But we have to do this. We have to finish everything by 10 a.m. So some people will tell you to have 2 meals in the morning, completing it by 10 a.m. And some people will say you can have 1 meal in the morning, and then you could, in the late afternoon, after mincha, you can have fruits, you can have grapes, and you can have dates, the special Eretz Yisraelic fruits that you can say in Al HaPeiros, the special after bracha on that. And then you're allowed to take a nap on Shabbos afternoon. I bless all of us that we should be able to take a nap, meaning we should have, sometimes when you have to sleep, you can't sleep. So take a nap, but you're not allowed to verbalize and say, I'm taking a nap so that I should be awake for the Seder. But you are allowed to take a nap on Shabbos so that you'll be awake for the Seder. You just can't verbalize it, because that would be a disrespect for Shabbos. Because on Shabbos, we don't prepare for after Shabbos, and so we don't want to disrespect Shabbos, and so we will take the nap, but we will do it quietly. Okay, today's the last day of the Chanukat Habayit. Actually, it's tomorrow also, but tomorrow is going to be too busy for us to have a shiur. So today we'll read about the final of the Nesiim. His name, it was from the tribe of Naphtali. And Naphtali's tribe, the name of the Nasi is Achira ben Einan. This is similar to Asher's tribe named, it's an unusual name, Achira, which if you translate it incorrectly means my brother is bad, Achira. But really it's Reya. Achira means Achira is Achireya, my brother and my friend. My brother is my friend. My fellow Jew is my ve'acha kamocha, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And so it's again the challenge of seeing the positive in that which could go either way. Challenge of judging favorably. Einan is only Einaim. Einaim means the eyes. So how are you going to see? We have to pray to Hashem that we should get along with everybody on Pesach. We should look away from the annoyances and we should just focus on the soul. We should focus on their sweetness, their goodness. We have to practice this a lot over Pesach because we know that Pesach is a time of potential redemption. And even though we don't know, and everyone's trying to figure out, is it going to be this Pesach? And we don't know. The Rav keeps reminding us, it says in the Zohar that Hashem says, Razi li, Razi li. The secret of Pesach, the secret of redemption, let's hope it says Pesach. The secret of redemption is only Hashem knows, not even the angels. Nothing that Hashem created knows the secret of redemption other than Hashem. But we hope it's going to be in Nissan. It's supposed to be from Nissan until, starting now in Nissan, until Shmini Atzeres, until the end of Tishrei. This whole summer season is potential for redemption. Let's hope. So we need to do our part. Our part is to try to get along with everybody and to try to see the good in everybody and to try to fulfill the V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That's our job. As best we can. Only Hashem knows. Hashem knows who we came into this world to have challenges with. Hashem knows because He did it. He arranged it for us. Achira ben Eina. Let's try to see that our fellow Jew is another part of us. You know that now, one of my students told me, I'm Baruch Hashem in Eretz Yisrael for many, many decades. But when I lived in America, I taught in yeshiva, so we never had the kind of teaching and the kind of classroom setup that my students tell me that they have now. Well, maybe because this particular student they're like my kids, they go to a very unusual yeshiva. But she told me that all of the kids, the work that they have to do is always in groups. They always have these group projects, a group of 4 kids at a table or at a meeting, and they have to plan a project together, and they have to divide up the jobs, and they do it together, and that's a very, very good thing. We never had that when I was teaching in America. I never did that. Maybe I should have. But the idea of working in groups together, and that each person in the group feels such a responsibility because the group gets 1 grade. In other words, whatever the group, all 4 kids are going to get the same mark, the same grade, the same judgment from the teacher. Everybody wants to get a good grade, so everybody's pulling that group should do a good job. And everyone feels responsible, or they should feel responsible. And that's the new way of education. That new way of education is very good. It's very Mashiach, because we have to learn to feel that. In the Beis HaMikdash, the Kohanim were the ones who did our job. They represented us. We had to let go of our ego and let the Kohen do the work for us after we ourselves did tshuva, said we're sorry, we confessed what we needed to confess. And then we had to merge with the Kohen, and the Kohen has to merge with us. So that's Achira ben Einan, the president of the tribe of Naphtali. And again, we're using the Sephardic Siddur to show what's the hint in the tribe of Naphtali, and he brings the pasuk that the mitzvah are mitzukim midvash v'nofes tzufim, right? Hanechmadi mizahav mipazrav mitzukim midvash v'nofes tzufim, which means Torah mitzvot are sweet like honey, and sweet like the honey from the honeycomb. In olden days, you used to have cartoons of somebody sticking their hand into the honeycomb and eating directly honey. Can't really do that unless you're a bear, because there's bees. But nofet, Naphtali, nofet means sweet, the sweetness of the honeycomb. And so the prayer that we're uttering today in relation to Naphtali is, please Hashem, let me enjoy Torah and mitzvah. Let me enjoy learning Torah. Let me enjoy shiurim. Let me enjoy keeping the mitzvah. Let me do them in a pleasurable way. And everybody has to do that in their own unique way. Some people like halacha. They like to learn Jewish law. And they love to see the logic behind it. And they love to see Gemara and how the rabbis in the Gemara honed the details and how they derived everything and what was their mindset. And some people love to learn the midrashim, the stories of what happened to the Jewish people in our history. Some people like to learn Kabbalah and the systems of how Hashem is revealing to us that He runs the universe. And some people have to have a balanced diet of a little bit of everything. Some people love Hasidus, which is to inspire us and to keep us burning for Hashem. And some people love to learn whatever. Everybody likes to learn what they like to learn. So you're supposed to learn in this generation, learn the Torah that you like. Listen to the shiurim that you like. Don't feel obligated. If you don't like a certain shiur, a certain teacher, a certain derech, a certain way of learning, then don't learn that way. I mean, you have to learn the minimum of keeping laws, but in terms of your learning of Torah, it should be pleasant. It should be enjoyable. And in terms of doing mitzvah, everybody has to do the mitzvah in the way that they give their families and their friends and themselves the most gishmak, the most pleasure. In other words, if it's important for you that your table looks beautiful for every Shabbos meal, so okay, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's important to you that you have a Dvar Torah prepared for every Shabbos meal, then do that. If it's important for you to have Shabbos guests, then do that. And if any of the above get you nervous, then don't do that. In other words, keep the mitzvah in the best. You have to keep the mitzvah. Every mitzvah has to be kept 100%. But in the way that gives you, we're asking Hashem, let me find pleasure in it. Let me see pleasure. Let me see the beauty of every single mitzvah. And everybody sees it in their unique way. Some people see the beauty of charity, and some people get annoyed when people come knocking on their door. Some people see the beauty of guests, and some people get annoyed when people keep asking them to come over. Some people love that the boys are sitting and learning after marriage, and some people feel that they should not be. They should be supporting their families. Everybody has to do what works for them. As long as you're in the umbrella of Torah, as long as you're in the Torah, you're keeping the Torah, you're doing it, and as long as you give other people leeway to serve Hashem in the way that they feel is right for them. Let it be that the Torah is sweet to us like honey. The Torah and mitzvah. Now a little bit from the Hagada of the Rav. I want to talk about Mashiach. He said many times. We learned it actually in the Shir once a long time ago. Mashiach hu lashon sicha. The word Mashiach, which literally means the appointed one, the anointed one, right? Because Mashiach is the one that Hashem will anoint, will appoint, will choose to have his soul activated first in the planet. But the many hints to the word Mashiach. Mashiach is also from the word Masiach. Masiach means to speak, to converse, to communicate. Sheyavo Mashiach, Sheyavo lahasiach l'saper lanu migdolat nishmotenu. What are the things that's going to happen when Mashiach comes? And that's how you're going to know who's Mashiach. And that's how you're going to know, by the way, who's the person who is your personal Mashiach. What do I mean by that? I mean, everybody has a personal, asay l'charav. It says we have to make ourselves a rabbi. We have to choose a rabbi. You have to choose a rabbi who's going to bring out the best in you, not who's going to make you feel, despondent and despairing and, looking down at yourself. Just the opposite. You have to pick a rav who's available to you, but who's also going to help you to see the preciousness of your soul. Now, only tzaddikim can see the preciousness of the soul of every single Jew. We all look at each other like, we see our externals. Only the tzaddik, he can see the soul. And he can say to you, you're a tzaddik. And you're a tzaddikah. And that's what Mashiach is going to come and he's going to speak about. How that's going to happen, we have to wait and see. How it's going to come about individually, or is it going to happen that we're going to start to see the good points inside of us, like Rabbi Nachman says. Not just they're going to see individual people. We're going to see the beauty of our nation. We're going to see the exaltedness of our nation, of our people, of who we are as a nation. And we've been battered down for, right, our whole nationhood. We've been battered down and insulted and all of that. And a lot of it we believe. Sadly, we believe that, sadly we have. I spoke once to a very liberal, very Orthodox Jew, and pointed out to that person that it's very liberal. They accept everybody except Haredim. They have a problem with Haredim. And that Jew said, you're right. It's a terrible thing. Because we absorbed, sometimes, okay, the person did tshuva, I'm sure, a million times. But we absorbed the negativity from the nations of the world. Mashiach is going to show us how awesome we are. How after thousands of years, like Rabbi Yisrael ben Sasha said, it doesn't say anywhere. Hashem doesn't have any policemen. Hashem doesn't have any policemen, but it says in the Torah that we should have no chametz, and we have no chametz in the house. It's a long story. One time, when I lived in America, so I had a non-Jewish cleaning woman helping me, and she did the stove, and I looked at it, and it wasn't done the way it has to be done. I showed her, see this spot you have to remove, and that spot you have to remove, and she's scrubbing, and she showed me again. I said, no, you still have to. And she said to me, are you having an inspector coming and inspect this apartment? And I said, yes. She said, oh, who? And I said, God. And she looked at me like I was nuts. And she continued scrubbing. But it's true. It doesn't, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak said, he said, Hashem has no policeman and there's nobody watching over your shoulder. And yet you're going to make everything 1,000% kosher Pesaach. That's an amazing thing that after 3,333 years of receiving the Torah, we're still keeping it. Like if Moshe Rabbeinu would come now into my kitchen, he would understand what all the tinfoil is all about. And he would understand how I set it up. Mashiach is going to come and he's going to tell us how great we are. The hakavod shelo yeh b'ma she'itol et ha'chen v'chashibut shenimtzeim etzel ha'akum yachzir otam la'am Yisrael. And the awesome teaching that Rabbi Nachman is his first teaching in Likutei Moharan. Oh, sorry, my battery is low here. 1 second. Rabbi Nachman, in his first teaching in Likutei Moharan says that the nations of the world have hijacked. The nations of the world have hijacked. If it goes off the thing, so I hope the stream, so I hope it gets preserved. The nations of the world have hijacked a lot of the beauty that the Jewish people brought into the world, and so Mashiach is going to restore that. He's going to restore that to us. He's going to restore it to the Jewish people, and we're going to restore the chen and the chashivut, the beauty and the honor to every single Jew. So you should have a happy and healthy Pesach. Enjoy your Pesach. Eat your matzah. Keep it 1,000% strictly. And we should meet again when Mashiach comes. Now, Bezrat Hashem, Mashiach should give the next shir. Bezrat Hashem. Good Shabbos, good Yom Tov, good Yer.